Hello again everybody, this is Gusto, and today I'm reviewing a special item. This is a 1967 West German survival ration sent to me by the one and only Steve1989. And this ration is rare as hen's teeth. Apart from the one that I saw on Steve1989's channel and the one that he sent me, I haven't found another example of this particular ration. So let's take a look at it. If we look at the construction of this ration, you can see that it's made out of aluminum that has been drawn into these two opposing cups. You can see the texture there, the grain of the aluminum there from stretching. And those two cups are sealed together with this really heavy tape. And if we look really close, you can see a production date of February 1967. This ration just has a fantastic appearance. It's really clean looking, it's pretty heavy duty, it can take a beating, and it's also small enough to fit in a pocket. This is just a little bit over 5 inches in length, a little over 3 1/4 inches in width, and just less than an inch in depth. Before I break into that, I wanted to also address something that's happened on my channel in the last few days, and this will also answer a question that I get a lot in the comments, is what's the deal with the skull? The skull is essentially my watermark on this channel. When you see the skull on a video of a review, you know that it is my original work, RC Gusto Ration Reviews. If you see it somewhere else, under a different name or under a different channel, it is stolen. So let's take a closer look at this thing. We'll open it up, and you can see this yellow tape on the outside. This translates just to survival ration, is all that it's listed on the container. It looks to be fairly well sealed there. It's stuck together really well. It doesn't have any tape peeling up at all. It is stuck really well to the cans. Still very sticky. There you have it. These two cups slide apart, and there is kind of a slider drawer inside there. You can see from the back side it's kind of a U-channel. And the first thing there is instant tea. And if you look down inside there, you can see a stamping of the can production date of 1963. So the can was produced in 1963. This ration was packed and sealed in 1967. For some reason, this ration just has an awesome visual appeal to me. I really like the appearance of it. It just really stands out. It's very unique appearing, kind of futuristic looking even. So I get those pulled apart. Inside is a little bit sticky. These little divider tabs, these little aluminum divider tabs are a little sticky. It could be that my fingers are still sticky from the tape. Anyway, there is an instruction sheet there. It's printed, again, really neat. It's kind of a foil paper instruction sheet with the contents on there. It's kind of hard to see with the glare, but you can read that or translate that if you like. And then on the back, it has a description of the ration itself as well as the intended use. I went ahead and translated this with Google Translate, and it's kind of a rough translation, but essentially it states that this ration is only to be used whenever the usual food supply has run out or is not available. It talks about the nutritional content and the nature of this ration being mainly consisting of sugars with some protein and fat as well, and it also states that it is not thirst or hunger provoking when consumed appropriately. It also talks about the addition of dried meat cubes and the chocolate that are added not just for their nutritional value, but because of their flavor, and that kind of breaks up the monotony of eating standard survival ration. So that's kind of nice. They're addressing the soldiers' morale with the contents of this ration. As far as the main contents, it does state that most of the nutritional value of this is made up by a confectionery, which is caramel candies. You can see 3 packets there. You can see they're broken up into individual pieces inside there. So there's 3 packages of those. There is 1 meat bar, which is a compressed dried meat bar. It's very dense, wrapped in this sealed aluminum laminate. This also contains a 48-gram bar of chocolate, and you can see, if you look closely, there's some mocha cola chocolate. So this contains cola beans, which makes this chocolate bar caffeinated. Can't really see the listing on the back, but this is 48 grams. It's a pretty decent sized bar of chocolate. It also contains 4 water purification tablets, you can see there. And from initial inspection, there is no foul odor or leakage of any of the contents. Everything seems to be fairly well sealed. Some of these old survival rations can have kind of a foul, off-putting odor to them, but this doesn't at all. All of the packages appear to remain intact, so I'm somewhat optimistic about breaking into these and even trying some of these items. So let's start off by making the tea. Again, this is a instant tea package. Looks like 1.2 grams. Doesn't show how much water to dissolve this in, but we'll try it with maybe 8 ounces. It is all powder in there, so that's encouraging. There you go. There is the tea inside there. It's a very dark kind of flake. You can see, get some of this here. So it may have actually been exposed to some water at some point, but it is pretty dry and it's very brittle and crumbles. And it may just be that it's compressed really tightly inside that package. Try to make it anyway. Get some water in here, maybe about 8 ounces. Yeah, right at 8 ounces will be okay. We'll give that a stir. There's still some undissolved pieces in there. We'll just give that a little bit of time. Next, the candy pieces, the caramel candies. There you see they're tightly wrapped in this kind of a thick green paper. They're individually foil wrapped. Pretty cool. Doesn't allow for much contrast on my tray there, but we'll open those up a little further in a minute. Next is the meat bar. And again, this is tightly sealed in this foil paper, and I think there's a piece of tape around the outside of it too. Yeah, some tape. Interesting. It is old tape, so it's it doesn't look like it's been opened previously. This is somewhat reminiscent of the parachute ration from 1969 that I did that had the compressed meat bar. But that was just kind of a compressed ground beef. It's a little bit different. Has the appearance of just general food bars. Got a strong meat scent to it. Actually, kind of smells like liver as well. That's kind of what Steve described. That it was kind of a pungent liver scent to it, but it doesn't smell bad. It doesn't smell like it's rotten or sour or anything like that. And it is dry as a bone and rock solid. So it's very well dehydrated. Yep. So there's the meat bar. And then the chocolate bar, and again this is a 48 gram chocolate bar. Oh, look at that. Not a lot of oxidation on the surface. It is also wrapped in this foil. Yeah, a pretty big piece of chocolate as rations go. It looks to be in pretty good shape. A little bit of a sour scent to it, but also kind of a dark chocolate scent as well. So that is it for the contents of the ration. Let's get some of these candies opened up so you can see what those look like. So wrapped in this foil with a wax paper on the inside. Kind of a dark brown. They're hard. Actually, they're kind of soft. Look at that. Interesting. And since caramels generally contain butter and milk and sugar, this has the potential for being sour and for the oils to become rancid. It does have kind of a sour scent to it, so I'm still going to try it, but I'm not too optimistic about this being very good. You can tell that these were probably kind of a sticky, soft candy when they're originally made, but years of oxidation has turned them pretty dry and probably sour. Let's try it anyway. It's initially sweet, but it dries out your mouth very quickly. There is that sour rancid flavor that dries out the back of your tongue and then the back of your throat next. Rancid food won't hurt you, it's just oxidized oils, but it is very unpleasant to eat. It leaves your throat with a really sour, dry sensation. Yeah, those are just showing their age. You could tell that they were probably nice and sweet and probably pretty good when they were first made, and the initial flavor isn't too bad, but the rancidity takes over after a few seconds and is quite unpleasant. Let's move on to the compressed meat bar, and again, this is just a really solid, dense brick of dried meat. So it doesn't have a horrible scent to it. Like I said, it's a little bit like a really pungent liver pate or something like that. And it crumbles into this kind of chalky appearing granular powder there. So let's go ahead and try it. So again, there's what the meat bar looks like up close. That's interesting. The texture is kind of odd. Once it rehydrates in your mouth, it's kind of a little bit foamy. It's very soft, very fine grain with some more distinct chunks, a little bit harder chunks in there. The flavor itself is just kind of a nondescript, beefy kind of flavor. It does have some pungency to it. It may actually have some liver flavor in there as well. It's pretty strong. The beef flavor is kind of like a bouillon cube, a little bit salty, but the texture is really odd. It starts out very, very dry in your mouth and just kind of like a powder that just kind of rehydrates into a paste. Interesting flavor, and it doesn't taste bad. It's just very unique. I've never experienced anything like that before. So really pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and try some of the tea. And the tea, I've been sitting here mixing for a few minutes trying to get this to dissolve. And let me see if I can get a good view of this with one of my lights. So you can see in there, I'm sorry for the light, but you can see in there there's a lot of grainy, flaky sediment that has not really dissolved. But otherwise, it's kind of a nice dark brown tea. Let me see if I can get some of these flakes. So yeah, there's what really hasn't dissolved. And there's a whole lot of it in there. And it's probably just because it's aged and the packaging may have been compromised. So I don't know, we'll try it anyway. It does smell like kind of a strong tea. It may dissolve better if it was in hot water, but this is just kind of room temperature water. Yeah, it would have been better dissolved in hot water, I think. But let's see if microwaving it'll make any difference. Alright, I heated this up for about a minute. It's nice and hot. Let's see if it dissolves any better. I can get rid of some of this sediment here. Drinking it cold, it actually doesn't taste bad as far as tea goes. The sediment actually tasted like the tea leaves out of the tea bag, and it may just be that it's not fully dissolved, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was actually ground tea leaves. Let's see, it looks a little bit better after it's heated. There doesn't seem to be as much sediment in there, at least the sediment is more evenly distributed and smaller in grain. Yeah, and that's much better if it's hot. It actually has a not bad tea flavor. It's not really strong, just kind of an ordinary black tea flavor. No sugar or anything like that in this packet, but as far as instant tea, it's not bad. Then the last thing in here is the chocolate, and this is the cola chocolate, so it has cola beans in there, so it's caffeinated. It is a little bit oxidized on the surface. And it has a little bit of that sour, rancid scent to it, but I'm going to try it anyway. Not too bad, kind of looks like a dark chocolate. Yeah, that's actually not bad. Despite the oxidized scent and the oxidation on the surface, it's not sour. It does have a really strong dark chocolate flavor to it. Pretty smooth, a little bit on the bitter side, which goes along with the dark chocolate, but no, not bad. Again, that's caffeinated, so they give you a little bit of energy as well. So there you have it. Really interesting ration. Very unusual item from Steve1989. Again, this is the West German survival ration from 1967. Of course, a huge thank you to Steve for sending this to me. Just a great guy and a wealth of knowledge regarding rations, and just a huge asset to the review community, both on MREinfo.com and YouTube. It's always great doing trades and exchanges with him. Just an awesome guy to get to know. Anyway, this is just kind of a short, interesting peek into some historical rations, and I am going to do a little bit of a series on some smaller survival type rations over the next few days. I'll get those out. As always, thank you very much for coming to my channel and watching these videos. Your support benefits St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and the RC Gusto channel is directly donating money to St. Jude because of your support. So thank you very much for that. Please stay tuned for a whole lot more content. Again, I'll be getting a few more short survival ration type videos out in the next few days, and then I have a couple of projects that I'm working on. Really unusual stuff. At any rate, thanks again, and of course to the ration review community on YouTube and on MREinfo.com. You guys are awesome, and I couldn't do this without your support, so thank you very much. So until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.